When to sell. Should I sell it vacant or occupied? The time of year, the current market conditions, and probably the most important is, do I need the money now? Because that's going to dictate whether you sell it now or you have the luxury of being able to wait and time the market. Hello, this is Alex Deacon. Today's topic is going to be a question I get asked a lot, and it's, when should I sell my rental property? When's the best time to sell? So when I get that question posed to me, the answer is always it depends. And the number one, it depends, is, do you need the money from this transaction now? Do you need it to go buy another home, another investment, to pay for a medical procedure, to whatever you need it? If you need money now, now's the time to sell. There is no waiting for the market and trying to time the market, and it's now or never. So that's the first question you ask yourself. How bad do I need that equity, the potential equity, because you might not have equity? What is this the best time to sell? It is, if you need the cash. That's number one. Number two, most common, is, should I sell the property occupied or should I sell it vacant? And that changes. So for example, if you're in a good area that people want their kids to go to school, or it's a high demand type of single family home, and maybe you wait till the property's vacant, so then you can go ahead in to the property, do a little bit of work, maximize your profit, and sell it for the highest possible price. The downside of that is it takes time. You have to wait for the tenant to leave. You got to assess how much work's needed, schedule the work, list it. And during that period, you don't know when the market's going to start to tank or when it's going to continually rise. Because I've been caught in that, oh shoot, I missed the market, and now I have a mortgage payment that's $1,500 a month. I'm not bringing in any rent, and the market's gone south. So now I'm really losing money. That's kind of a gamble. It's a gamble. But if you don't need the money and you're like, okay, well, I had to put that money into it, let me re-rent it for a higher price, let me hold on to it, and let me try to time the market again whenever the time comes. So selling it occupied, I think, can hurt you and it can help you. It can hurt you because the tenants usually aren't happy. They're like, oh, you're selling the property, now I'm going to have to move. I'm not going to be real cooperative with the agent showing it. I'm not a happy camper. They might not live very neat and clean. They might have the ugliest furniture and decor, and the house doesn't show well, or it smells a little bit. It's just, it doesn't, you don't put your best foot forward usually when a tenant's there. Occasionally you have tenants that are super clean and neat and the place shows well and they're cooperative and everything works out, but that's normally not what happens. If you're selling a portfolio that's maybe in less desirable neighborhoods, and it's most likely only going to be an investor buying them, then having them occupied with good tenants that are paying their rent, that are relatively neat and clean. I mean, the only thing that I would say not to sell a property when it's in an area like that with it occupied is when the tenant is just disgusting. When you're trying to sell a property like that, it's probably best you get rid of them regardless of the area. But I'm saying, if you have 3 or 4 units and they're in an area that's mainly going to be purchased by a landlord, then what you want to try to do is get the rents up as high as possible before you list it. And you want to then sell them occupied. And you let the tenants know that, look, most likely you're not going to have to move. I'm going to give you 90 days notice if for some reason you're going to have to move, 60 or 90 days. But there's a high probability, if you cooperate with me or my agent in helping me sell these, the landlord's going to want to keep you. They want to keep these places occupied. So I would suggest don't start packing your bags and finding another place to live, because what you don't want to happen is, if you have 3 houses for sale or a 3 unit and all the tenants make a mass exodus and move out, now you're stuck with 3 units that probably need work. You're going to have to put work into them, make them look better, smell better, to re-rent them or to sell them as is, but you're selling them at a lower price. And you have vacant units. You don't want vacant units. There's potential vandalism, frozen pipes in the winter. Things can happen when you have a vacant property. So you have to think it through, and I can help you do that when, if we're managing it, and I can sell the properties for you. Timing is important, and answering all these questions is very important to help you net the most return on investment at the end of the day. So should I rent it vacant? Should I sell it vacant? Should I sell it occupied? It really depends on the location and certain other factors, so I can help walk you through that. Time of year, is that something you really should focus on? I don't as much, because most agents will tell you the best time to sell is in the spring and summer, especially in the market we're in Pittsburgh, where winter is, winter can be cold and lots of snow, and there's holidays in there. There's Thanksgiving, there's Christmas, there's New Year's. But what I've noticed is during the best times of the year, there's this much inventory, but there's also this much buyers. There's a lot more inventory, a lot more buyers. If you're selling, let's say December 15th, you list your house, there is less inventory because everybody else is pulling their house off the market. They're waiting till January or February or March to list it. So you have less inventory, you also have less buyers. So I think the net effect is probably the same at the end of the day. You have to look at the current market conditions. So what I did recently in the past 3 years, I've probably sold about 5 properties. The market's been amazing. The interest rates were at an all-time low. I had tenants moving out, and I thought, well, this is a good time to sell that asset. I'll put some money into it. So some homes I put $20,000 into, another home I put $70,000 into it. But I sold them at the height of the market, and I made a very good profit margin. So I timed it right. I used the current market conditions, which were very good. I knew my tenants were moving out, so I thought, well, then this is a good time to renovate and sell. Now, what you have to do is think about, like the one I put $70,000 into, I renovated that to flip it, to sell it. So I went a little above and beyond what I would have done if I was going to just renovate it and keep it as a rental. Maybe I would have put in 45 or 50,000. But I gambled, and I said, look, I know this is going to take 6 months to get it rehabbed and back on the market, and the market can shift. It can go down or up. So I don't know. It's a bit of a gamble. But I went with the gamble. I put more into it, and I sold it for a high dollar amount. So I got lucky. I timed the market, and I got lucky. You just never know. And that's why you always, when you're investing, always have different scenarios that you can live with. Best case and worst case, and anything in between. So I look at it that way. I looked at best case, I put 70 into it. I hit the market at the right time. I sell it for max. And I've done it many times where I missed the market. I took 4 months to sell it or to get it ready. Then I listed it, and then the market shifted. And I'm like, doggone it. If I would have gotten this done, if I'd have did this 6 months earlier, I would have made 20% more. So I think we covered just about everything I could think of. When to sell. Should I sell it vacant or occupied? The time of year, the current market conditions, and probably the most important is, do I need the money now? Because that's going to dictate whether you sell it now, or you have the luxury of being able to wait and time the market. If you ever have any questions on any of this stuff, any of these topics we talked to, I'm usually available via email. I do try to answer all of my emails as quickly as I can, and I'm happy to help, especially my MACE property management clients, and then my clients that I work with to help them buy and sell their own properties. It's alex@alexdeacon.com. Please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. And if there's, again, anything I can do for you, please shoot me an email, and I'm happy to help. Thank you. Have a great day.